Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mystic Primrose podcast. I am so sorry that it's taken me maybe a bit too long to film another episode. We won't talk about why, well, I think we all know why. But today I have a special guest on the podcast. And do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kirsten.
Lily's therapist.
Yes, Lily's therapist,
No.
a delulu, a certified delulu. And I'm here to talk about everything under the sun with Lily today.
So I know that I don't normally have a plan when it comes to these podcasts and I tend to just wing them, but make sure you guys have a coffee or some hot drink as we're just going to sit down and have a bit of a conversation about maybe like female empowerment and relationships and maybe, I don't know, and just go from there and see what happens. Full moon was yesterday and it was obviously in Leo, which is a time, let's just say our ego sometimes gets the better of us and everything. And it was very much a time of reflecting on lessons 2024 has given us already. And we all know that I've learnt a big lesson in 2024. I think
Yep.
you've heard, Kirsten's heard enough of it as well. I think everyone has. What would you say your first lesson of this year has been?
Oh my, I think this year has been already challenging. I think it's a mental challenge in terms of actually keeping focus on the goals, at the same time trying to figure out how I'd be able to give myself that time, because to be able to get through things and keep myself focused on what I want to do and where I want to be, I know that I still have to give myself some time to recuperate, because it's always like a hustle and bustle kind of week, and I'm just at the point when, I'm just sick of the routine. I just want to just fly away somewhere, have a break, but I can't do that because adulting is, let's be honest, shit. So, I'm just trying to sort of sort that out and find some time.
I think what we all kind of forget is that like everyone has their own issues, and at the time you're just sat here like, I feel like crap and all these sorts of things. You forget everyone's going through the exact same thing.
Exactly.
And I know like it's all right having a routine. Like I think I remember like ages ago, maybe like a year or so ago, I was doing the same shit different day, and I was like, one day I'm going to change this.
Yeah.
And then a year or so had gone by or whatever, and I'm like, I'm still doing the same shit, and it's just like I'm just sat here wasting all this time. So I don't know, like the whole routine thing, I think it's all right, but then it's how would you break that routine?
Exactly.
Right.
And I totally agree. And this is why I find you empowering, because, obviously I don't want to continue working for a corporate world all throughout my life until retirement.
Yeah.
I am starting to look at options on how I can retire early, but it does take a lot of courage, a lot of balls to do something and jump on to something you've never done before without knowing the risk of it.
I think the thing is, like, you don't, with like say being in a corporate job and stuff, you sit there and want to be like, it's like a safety net, isn't it?
Exactly.
And like, as much as like maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you don't enjoy it, but at the same time, like, you don't want to break away from that, because then you're like, what happens if I can't find another job now?
Exactly.
I'm to work at Mackey's.
Exactly.
Or something.
And I mean, with everything going on nowadays, commodity prices of everything, it's just very, very scary to lose that security.
Yeah.
You mean? But for me, I do admire you because you've set everything up yourself. You're clearly very, very successful, and I hope everybody else out there is empowered by your journey, because if you can do it, everybody else can. So Hopefully one day I get there.
I'm sure.
Maybe a sugar daddy.
I mean, who doesn't want one? Let's be honest.
Exactly.
I think the thing is like where you like commend me with the whole like working for myself and stuff. I still sit there like every evening, like maybe not every evening, but I go to like my mum, like, what happens if I never get another sale again and all this sort of stuff, and just like, Lily, you've got 900,000 odd followers on Instagram. I think you're gonna get one more sale, but like, it's just the idea of like, if I don't put the work in, like, there's gonna be nothing, is there? And like,
exactly.
But at the same time, I think, like, so I used to work at a bar during uni, and I've, like, after graduating from uni, I never, like, got into, like, a corporate job or anything. And I think from the whole, like, how long did I work at this bar for? Maybe, like, 4 or 5 years. And I'll be honest, I was pretty decent behind a bar, but it didn't matter how hard I worked or anything like that. I wouldn't get any more recognition than anyone else. And they went through a lot of bar staff, put it this way. And I think I was like the longest standing student staff person. And they never said thank you or anything. And I was just sat here, I was like, I'm working my arse off. And yet you're not giving me any recognition. Yet you're here acting as though like someone's better than me or whatever. And it was at that point where I was like, you know what? The only person that's going to be good at your job is like yourself, if you're self-employed. Like, no one can do you better than you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's a little bit stressful working by yourself.
I can imagine, because, you know, but the good thing is you handle your own hours, you know.
A lot of hours.
Exactly. And you haven't got anyone to report to. And I don't know if anyone else out there can relate to this, but it's very rare that you find a good work environment nowadays.
Yeah.
Office culture tends to be toxic.
Oh, really?
And I personally don't want that in my life. I try and shy away from all the negativity, because you don't want to bring that home, and it just tends to drag me down and put my mental health at stake, which is the last thing I want. So,
do you get a lot of drama?
A lot of drama, but a lot of slyness that I wasn't really expecting. So I think, quite like you said, it's still very prominent nowadays, in my company, in quite a lot of other companies, that affirming employees is not happening as and when it should. Giving credit when credit is due is not happening as it should. And, you know, I hope that people who are listening now can be inspired to, whether you're a manager, an employee, or just a simple colleague to someone else, you can affirm them every day. And
like a simple, like, you're doing really well today.
Exactly.
Like, it goes a long way. A long way. And especially if there's like I feel like that's why I couldn't work in a corporate job, because like, just like from experience from like in the bar and stuff, like, it did not matter how much you worked your arse off. They didn't give a shit.
Exactly.
Like, as long as managers are getting paid and stuff, like, they don't care about the lower level people, because they'll just be like, oh, I can sit there and replace you whenever. So I don't know, I don't think I could ever do it. Be honest.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and I personally struggle with it. But I mean, like I said, I'm still clinging on to that job security. But so I've got to do it. Adulting says so.
So say when you come back from, like, anyone who's in a similar sort of situation where they want to break the cycle, but at the same time they know they've got to stay at this corporate job, how would you, like, when you come home, how would you, like, switch off and de-stress and relax from it all?
So I've grown up from taking the stress home. So now I tend to, as soon as I leave the gates, I try not to think about it, you know, because I ask myself, is it worth the stress? And I assess it by asking myself, does it add value to my life? Is it worth my time even delving into it, thinking about it and stressing over it? If it doesn't add value to my life and it only adds value to my company's profit and things like that, or somebody else's paycheck, not necessarily mine, then
no, thank
I
you.
wouldn't stress about it out of office hours. And I try to prioritize my time, my pamper time. So even if I've got my husband, he does his own thing, I literally tell him, I'm gonna have a bath tonight. I want to be alone in a bath
Do not
tonight.
knock on my door.
And do not bother me, do not stress me out. I need my own personal time.
I think that's like, I think like, say if you come back from your job and then you come back to people living at home, like, I think that's where like tension can start coming, especially if like you want some time to yourself, but then your partner's like, I've not seen you all day.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
It just causes
additional drama.
Yeah. It's like, I've just come back from work
dealing
with shit, and now I can't deal with more shit. I just wanted a bath by myself.
And it's definitely something that I often encounter, me and my husband, because he works in a very, very high-stake role, and he's often stressed, so we don't see each other on a daily basis that much as we'd want to. I mean, I don't want to. But
sorry if you're listening.
But what I'm trying to say is, it's a matter of trying to communicate effectively. Like, where are you at? How much is left in your battery percentage? If he says 20, then no matter how bad or stressed I feel, I'll try and give a bit more. So that's how we try and work things now. And we've only started doing this not long ago, probably back end of last year, mid-year last year, and it seems to be working for us. So if I'm running low on a 20, I tell him I'm running on a 20%.
Pick up the 80.
He'll have to pick up the 80. And even if he has to take me to TK Maxx for a bit of retail therapy, or perhaps buy me Domino's, little things like that, to just try and pick up that 80, it does work wonders in the long run, and it works well for the relationship, which then gives me sort of a safe space that, right, I don't have to think about the stress that I've just had at work. Then I can just focus on enjoying the weekend, be in my safe space, and just breathe.
Yeah, I think that's where I've had maybe like issues in the past. Is that like you get so used to putting the 80% in, and then you just sit there and settle for 20%. And I don't know, I think you get just in, as you get older and stuff, you realise like how relationships are meant to work. And as a kid, well, not a kid, but like from teenage years, going through a number of people that have turned out to be relatively toxic, it's just so hard to get that balance right. And when it comes to like relationships and stuff, and like say at the minute, if you're in a relationship with someone and you feel like you're doing most of the legwork, I don't know, I personally would say you should take like a step back.
Exactly.
And then see if they actually step up to the margin.
Correct.
And if they don't, well, get rid.
Exactly. Get rid, because, you know, we don't want toxicity in our life. And I think, you know, I completely get it, because I'm the type of person that I love fixing people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just like you, I've had to go through a number of people that I thought I could fix, but little did I know it will bite me in the arse.
Well, this is the thing, like you get so like fixated on fixing someone else, you don't realise that you're the one that needs fixing too.
Exactly.
And I think like apart from me, from when I've wanted to fix like people in the past, especially with like my first boyfriends and stuff, I realised like I was trying to fix them because it kind of healed me at the same time, but it didn't really heal me. It was kind of like a distraction sort of thing. And
there's a lot of work that goes into healing, and you know, like for me to be able to heal my childhood traumas, I had to face it and make myself it's more than just making yourself self-aware.
Yeah.
It's actually dealing with, right, well, it stemmed from my childhood trauma. How do I then deal with it? How do I make peace with it?
Yeah.
And it's only after I made peace with all that trauma that I actually feel like, right, okay, I'm in my feminine power now.
I need to get in that.
I'm in my divine power, you know, whatever comes my way.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, not unless you add value to my life, that's the only time I'd care.
Yeah.
But if you're bringing in negativity, then I don't give a shit.
I think, like, this is where I struggle with the fact that you see all over Instagram and stuff, and it's like, if you don't give me the same energy or same positive energy, or if you give me negative and stuff, I'm just cutting you out straight away. I feel like, yes, it's all right, said and done, like, doing that, but what happens if they're just having an off day and, like, it's not like the 80-20% or whatever, like, where is the line that you, I don't know how to
like a boundary or
yeah,
limit.
so, like, say if they're just having an off day and they give you their off day energy, like, surely if you just cut them out straight away then it's just like,
I think this is where effective communication needs to sort of, you know, intervene, because everybody has shit days. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has good days. But if you're projecting really, really bad energy onto someone who genuinely does things because they care for you, then nobody deserves that.
No.
So, you know, trying to explain yourself, like, if you did or said something that later on you realize I shouldn't have said that, you know, maybe it's just because I was having a bad day, reach out to your partner, to the person you've hurt, because even though you're not sure whether they took it the wrong way or not, it's good to explain yourself and get ahead of that and be like, look, I didn't mean to sound off earlier. And if they come back saying, oh no, not a problem, we all have bad days, brilliant.
but then if they're off it with you then I think the main thing is self-awareness.
Yes.
I think so many people, like, I've learned a lot recently with regards to self-awareness, like how I act in relationships and stuff, and my attachment style is very much anxious, and feeded by in a relationship with, like, an avoidant, they do not go hand in hand.
No.
But at the same time, I like to research and everything, and reasons why people act the way they do, and just being self-aware that these are the issues I have, this is what I need to work on. It, like, I don't know, I feel like everyone needs to be self-aware. Like, say if you've dealt with stuff in your trauma, in your childhood, and you've got trauma from it, why wouldn't you want to, like, fix it?
Exactly.
And I think not being stereotypical and stuff, but I feel like men are not very self-aware.
No.
Or, like, because, like, men, they should have taught all this at school. Like,
that's
men's
so
language
true.
is, like, isn't it, men
It's
are from
so,
Mars and
yes.
women from Venus?
Exactly. They're so transactional, but I think that why they're like that is mainly because women process everything a lot more onto the emotional side.
Yeah.
You know, we're so intertwined with our emotions, whereas men, if something doesn't go their way, they'll be like, oh, I'll just deal with it. Whereas women, we tend to overthink. Well, I personally tend to overthink situations and why did they do it in such manner? What caused that? And did I do something wrong? And I think it's a matter of, like, when in a relationship, I personally tell my husband, like, look, this is where I'm at. You've hurt me in this way. And he doesn't normally acknowledge it the way, you know, I would want to. But he's getting better. But at first it was such a struggle to try and voice out how I feel. I felt very invalidated.
Yeah.
And we had so much to work on to get to where we are now.
I think the thing is, like, it's, like, okay that we're very much in touch with our emotions, but I think we forget that men aren't like that
Yeah.
at all, and then you're like, why am I sat here feeling like this? Whereas they're just getting on with shit, and it's kind of like, part of me is like a little bit envious, like how they can just sit there and deal with it, and like maybe they are like, maybe it's from like the whole society thing, like it's weak if men cry and all this sort of stuff. But like, honestly, if a guy cried to me, I'd be like,
exactly.
I just want you to.
Find
It's so
men,
much more attractive.
Exactly.
Unless you're bawling your eyes out 24/7, a bit of a wet wipe.
Vulnerable men, I find them sexier, and I always say this to all the men I've been with. You know, if you're vulnerable, it makes you even more attractive.
Yeah.
Because I can then, you know, you're giving me a safe space,
and you can connect with that person so much more than if they just like constantly just hid their feelings, didn't talk about it. Like the whole point of relationships is to build that connection with someone, and if they can sit there and like, I'm like, dude, if you start crying, I'll probably start crying too because you're crying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just want, I don't know, it's just difficult. I think like with society and stuff, it's taught men very much they can't cry, but
you sure can.
please do. Well, not all the time.
Not all the time.
but like, it's just, it's difficult, I think. And I feel like they should have taught you this at school. Like, there's no such thing as a emotionally stable woman, let's be honest, because we've all got our hormones up and down the place and stuff. And I feel like school should have taught guys, instead of, sex education and stuff, they should have taught guys, like, this is how female, like, women act. And they're so much more emotional. But guys don't get it. They just think you're sat there nagging at them. It's like, you're not.
It's not. Like, the wave of emotions that women go through in a month is crazy. And it's scientifically backed up. So, you know, for all the men who's listening, there's science behind all these. And sometimes just a tiny bit of understanding, or like a hug on a bad day, it's like, is going to be okay.
Literally, like, sometimes like, I don't even want to talk about it, and I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm like, just hug me. That's all I want. Like, but it's just,
we're not that complicated. It's just simple.
But then they're like, women are so complicated.
I know. We'll probably get a bit of backlash on here, but I mean, we can take that on the next episode, and
it's fine. I think it's mainly women that listen.
Oh,
so
that's
they're probably
good.
sat there.
You're gonna
thinking
agree.
Exactly the same. They're like, yes. Going from the relationship topic and how like females and women are very much in touch with their emotions, I feel like what we all need to do is give each other, especially men as well, but give each other, like, give yourself more self-love.
Yes.
And all over Instagram at the minute, it's like 2024 is me, it's my energy, no one else, and all this sort of stuff. And I think loads of us forget to give ourselves self-love.
Yes.
Like, I know I definitely do. Like, I'd be so wrapped up in like a routine of getting my orders done, getting content out and everything, and I don't actually sit there and stop and be like, Lily, you need to give yourself a hug.
Yep. Give yourself a pat on the back for, you know, getting through a days of work, getting the things you needed to do, going to the gym, things you love. It's a major accomplishment, and celebrate small wins. I think prioritizing self-love, if you fill your self-love cup full enough, I always tell myself that's the only time that I should be giving love to other people, because if I've got my cup on a really low level, on empty, how am I supposed to spread the love? So it's kind of difficult, especially with the fact that, say, like, if your cup's empty and then someone comes to you with a problem, you're like, I can't really deal with this right now because I don't know how, like, I haven't got enough energy for me. And you don't obviously want to be rude or anything, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, how would you fill your self-love cup up? I think if that happens to me, look, this is when you'd know who your real friends are, who should be in your life and who shouldn't, because people who loves you and genuinely cares for you, when they come to you with a problem and you say, look, I'm really at my wit's end, I need time for myself, I'm struggling, I'm going through a lot as well, but I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
But if they understand that you're at that level and you still offered to listen, I think they're real and they're for keeps if they already appreciate that. Because, you know, I've been there when I just don't have the energy, but I'll show my support.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, but I don't have the energy to process and give you advice and
I think, like,
you know,
maybe, like, setting boundaries
exactly
is a version of self-love in a weird way, because I guess it's kind of like self-preservation, and to be like, okay, I can't deal with it right now, let me sort myself out, and then I'll help.
Exactly.
And I think we all forget with boundaries, especially with people that you love and stuff, and if you see they're struggling, you tend to forget about yourself to then, after all, we just fix people, don't we? We'll just go fix them instead of fixing us. But how would you fill your self-love cup? Like, what do you class as self-love? Like, what do you do?
Doing things that I want. So my prime one is I love my alone time. Yes, I'm married, but I need to have my alone time.
Yeah.
So it's literally just either I'll read a book, watch a series, or go out on my own for a little walk and just be in my own dimension.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're still together, is because he respects my alone time. And that to me fills my self-love cup. If I want to do a retail therapy, I do it.
Spend 300 quid in home sense.
Exactly. So I am one of them impulsive shopaholic girl that needs to stop. Yes. So when I'm stressed, I go retail therapy.
Yeah.
But if it fills my cup, you know, then I do it, because at the end of the day, nothing's guaranteed tomorrow. So I want to make sure I live today like it's my last day.
That's a good idea.
And everyone else should.
I think that's the thing, like, with routines and work and everything, you get so wrapped up in tomorrow rather than today.
Exactly.
And I know I'm definitely like that, because I'm always like, yeah, but what about tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, but Lily, what about today? And I think there's such a I know I find it, there's a stigma when it comes to, like, self-love. Like, you feel like if you're doing it, you're being selfish and stuff, or like you're boosting your ego, and it's just like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I know there's a stigma, but I don't agree with it. I think people who thinks that way just doesn't know the importance of self-love.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's not being selfish. I mean, nowadays, you know, I'm actually happy that people talk about mental health issues a lot more than they used to. And people know about it more. But, you know, it's very, very important that you look after yourself, because I've experienced it. Even family, sometimes you think they're family, they're not.
Yeah.
And then it'll end up they're not there for you. You know what I mean?
That's kind of the hardest, especially when, like, if you come to go to your family for an issue, and they're not the ones that are there.
Exactly.
Like, yes, sometimes or whatever, but, like, I didn't even know you, like that long ago. But then next minute in the gym, like, sit there, rant everything off, and you're just like, yes, I will help. I'm like, it's like some people, like, the most unexpected sort of things.
Exactly.
Like, say, like, it could be from, like, someone, like, on my Instagram or something. Someone you have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And then they're there for you more than anyone else.
You know, exactly. I've seen that post on Instagram that actually strangers are supporting, you know, people more than people who you actually know.
Yeah.
And growing up, I used to have shit tons of friends when I was in uni. And when I went home recently to my homeland, which is Philippines, I literally have seen 3 of them. So from hundreds who, you know, I used to party with, go to raves with, only 3
Yeah.
And it's mental.
It's kind of crazy because especially when I came back from uni, like they didn't tell, like that was the most sociable I've ever been. And they didn't tell you that when you come back, everyone just goes back to their own house.
Yeah.
Like things and no one there, and I'm just like
Exactly.
But like I think I ended up coming out with like 3 really good friends from uni. So I think it's just hanging around with the people that vibe on the same energy level.
Yeah.
And you have the same ambitions.
Exactly.
But then again, like say if you're out there at the minute and you feel like you don't have that, like your tribe, I think you have to go to the places where you think your tribe will be.
Exactly.
So like we have been to that like hot pod yoga.
Exactly.
And it's that like certain people will go to do yoga, other people won't, and it's more like spiritual side of more spiritual people will go to those places, and if that's more what you're in tuned with, then you should be going to them. Or say if you're looking for like a soulmate or a new partner and you want them to have these qualities and stuff, you need to go to those places.
Yeah.
And you can't just sit on your ass and
Yeah.
hope they're going to knock on your door and drop you off Domino's.
Exactly. So you gotta try different things. I mean, if you know what you want in a friendship group, you know what you're looking for, a friend, a partner, then you've got to, like Lily said, I definitely agree, you've got to do them things. I mean, you know, we met at the gym. I literally approached her and I said, oh my gosh, you look so good. And this was her pre-competition prep. And me
Felt
being
like,
like oh my god, I just want to speak to her. And so I did. But, I mean, it could have gone 2 ways,
Yeah,
you know?
been like,
exactly. You could have been like, oh, go away, I don't want to speak to you. But no, she didn't. So she was nice and we got along. But you know, I think people just need to be aware that sometimes things won't go your way.
Yeah.
Some people are there to be a lesson, but some people are there to be a blessing.
I think it's like, just go with things with a little bit of empathy. And I think if you prioritize yourself and give yourself enough self-love, whether that's like little rituals, bath rituals, spells, journaling, yoga, meditation, walk. We all know the self-help mindfulness stuff that we should all be doing more of. And I think if you go with enough self-love to yourself, then you'll be able to give it to someone else. I know like with past relationships and stuff, like if things haven't gone your way, it's so easy to put a barrier up and just like shut yourself off. But then again, you're not going to be able to make those connections and things with people if you're sat here just hating on the world, I guess. And I think if you can give yourself enough self-love and give yourself keep your heart soft, but at the same time put those boundaries up. Like there's nothing wrong with putting boundaries up, and if you've given someone a boundary and they cross it again, fair enough. If they cross it once and they apologise and they don't do it again, but if they keep crossing it, like that's when you need to cut people off.
You've got to have a limit. You know, at the end of the day, people make mistakes. Some people are genuine when they say they want to change. But, you know, if they've done it, like they always say that do it once, right, okay. Do it twice, it's a choice. Yeah. You know, you've made that choice. And I think once you've reached to a point where you actually know how to fill your self-love cup, you will find yourself, well, this is based on experience, I found myself no longer seeking validation of other people. Like, I don't give a shit. Whether you like me or not, I don't give a shit. If you like me, fair enough, let's see if we click, amazing. If we don't, let's go separate ways. I respect you, have a good life, have a good day. But before that, I was such a people pleaser. I had that stage and I was like, oh my god, hi, are you okay? I was working my ass off to just look good to other people. But when I figured the potion to actually getting that self-love cup filled, man, it's so empowering. And I want everyone to do that, to get there, because zero fucks given. Zero.
I think, like, especially, like, if your cup is full,
yeah,
and you know what your boundaries are, you know this, and this, and you know what sets your soul on fire, then you can very much connect with the people that have similar things. Because if you realise that you're not kind of like, you just happily just cut it off.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in pouring into another cup that isn't the same sort of, like, liquid. Is that a good analogy? I don't really
yes,
know.
I think so. I mean, you guys get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think, I don't know, we all need a little bit more self-love. Give energy into people that deserve it. Like, if they cross the boundary once, fair enough. But if they keep crossing that boundary, no, go away, goodbye.
Exactly.
And I think we need to just start sticking up for ourselves more and pouring into our own cups instead of busy trying to pour into others that will not pour back.
Exactly. And I mean, if you've not found your tribe just yet, they'll come. I mean, to be able to find the people that will be there for life, it usually happens in the most unexpected way. And, you know, you'll get there one day. Sometimes life will throw you people that are meant to just really, really teach you lessons, and take that on board, because that's how you learn what further boundaries should you set, you know, moving forward, that you should carry on doing. And I definitely agree, people should be more
empathetic and like, everyone's going through shit. So
exactly.
don't put your shit on someone else's shit.
Yep. Be kind, be nice.
But then again, if they're going to keep being an arsehole, just fuck them off.
Exactly. They don't deserve it. And the thing is, right, time is precious. Everyone's energy is precious. Your energy is precious. So if the person you're giving it to doesn't deserve it, then keep that. Else, yes, or keep that for yourself. And, you know,
I think last note is just, I posted yesterday with the whole full moon Leo thing. I was quite happy with the caption. It was like, water your own flowers first.
Yes.
And I think you need to water your own flowers in order to grow. And once you've grown, you can then help grow others. So I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast. It was a bit of a rambling self-love, self-awareness, relationship
empowerment session.
I hope it like helps you feel as though you're not on your own. Everyone is dealing with their own shit, but you need to love yourself first before you can love anyone else. And I know it's difficult, I know it's scary, because that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's not easy, but we will get there. We have each other.
Yes.
So if you guys have any more questions, or you have any questions that you want me to answer on the next podcast, or you want Kirsten back and you enjoyed our little ramble session, put it in the little Q&A box that I'll put down at the bottom somewhere on the podcast thing. You know, I don't know what I'm doing really, but they will be there anyway. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will make these podcasts a little bit more frequent. I do apologise. So yeah, hope you have guys a good day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.